Hello and welcome to Chesapeake Weekly. At the beginning of the pandemic, a moratorium was placed on utility shutoffs. So this meant that even if you couldn't pay your bill, you still wouldn't lose service to critical utilities such as your water. Now, unfortunately, the state is ending the moratorium this month, meaning that water shutoffs for those who are delinquent on their bills will resume in September. If you are not up to date on your bill, you will lose water service unless you act now. And there is help available. Thanks to state and federal funding through the CARES Act, over 3,400 households have received help paying their utility bills after being negatively affected by COVID-19. There is still funding available to help keep your water on, but it must be claimed by November. So, if you are at risk of losing water service, please contact the Chesapeake Public Utilities Office at 382-6352 to ask about applying for the COVID-19 Municipal Utility Relief Program. You can also go online to fill out the application form. Find a link to that at cityofchesapeake.net/COVID-19. A much anticipated project is now underway. If you ever travel Mount Pleasant roads, you know that portions of that narrow 2-lane roadway can get quite congested. Well, there is a widening project under construction right now. We got the latest from Public Works' Jason Brown.
One of the main problems that residents and motorists through this corridor experienced over the years, in addition to having more traffic, was when vehicles would stop and go along the corridor. Think about mail trucks, Amazon deliveries, UPS, trash trucks. They'd have to stop in the travel lane to pick up the trash cans or to drop packages off. And with only 2 lanes, that led to delays and slowdowns in traffic. The addition of this middle center lane is going to allow traffic to continue to move around some of these delivery vehicles and add safety implementation as far as turning vehicles out of the side streets and driveways. There's going to be some significant travel disruption along the corridor. As you see behind us, this is going to continue throughout the fall and into the winter as we do the work here. There'll be a lot of 1-lane traffic with flaggers directing traffic through the area. We try to limit that to off-peak hours during the middle of the day. So think about your 9 to 3 o'clock time frames. And we do that to avoid disruptions during rush hour. But those who have to come through this corridor during the middle of the day should expect there to be some backups. The target date to have this phase of construction all wrapped up and this new 3rd lane reopened between the expressway and Cooper's Ditch is going to be sometime in March of next year, so March 2022.
Stay up to date on all Public Works projects by visiting their website, cityofchesapeake.net/publicworks. Just click on the active projects link. This year's C3 engine repair camp was yet another success. Kids ages 12 to 17 learned engine repair, vehicle maintenance, and carpentry, all important skills for so many careers, including careers right here at the City of Chesapeake. One of the activities for the camp was a trip over to the city garage, where the city vehicles and equipment are cared for. Take a look.
And it's true. The only thing that slows you down or stops you from moving forward and doing what you want to do is you.
We decided that there was a lot of kids in many of the neighborhoods that weren't necessarily wanting to go to college. They weren't academic, but nobody had ever shown them how to work with their hands. And so we provide opportunities with working with their hands, and whether it's repairing lawnmowers or changing oil in a car, and we give them those opportunities to get their grease under their nails and use some tools and ask questions and explore. And then we work on character. So we have character, confidence, and capability are our 3 C's for the 3 C's. So we're interspersing how to be people of character in the midst of getting their hands dirty, and it opens up just some amazing conversations for these kids.
You can kind of tell by the size of the bays and the size of the lifts that's in it. You know, we can't fit much more than cars and light trucks. We can look at data in a lot of different ways with this guy. We can pull it up and just express everything as a numerical value.
It's important to talk to the youth in the city. If you look at the nationwide, we have a shortage of about 76,000 automotive technicians each year. The military and the training academies are only putting out 37,000. So simple math, we got 39,000 technicians shortage that are not out there to replace the people that are retiring and the growing demand for the automotive and diesel technicians. So it's important to show our youth what's available, what their career path can look at. the excitement about working on a variety of different vehicles for the city to keep us operating and serving the citizens of Chesapeake. While they're here, we're going to show them the various shops that we have, the fire shop, the light side, and the heavy equipment shop. We're going to let them work on mounting some heavy tires for us to see how that equipment works, and just see what we're doing on a day-to-day basis here for the city of Chesapeake.
I like seeing this type of stuff because I'm a hands-on person. I like working with a whole bunch of things. I want to say it's going to be my career, but I just want to be able to know how to do this type of stuff just in case my car breaks down or I need to repair something.
Well, as you can see, the Chesapeake community really comes through for our kids, providing opportunities and support of all types. And that's just what happened recently at Plasser American. Plasser American builds maintenance of way equipment to maintain railroad tracks nationwide at its plant in South Norfolk. Through a program called On the Right Track, they provided $1,000 to 3 Title I schools in our area, Truett Intermediate, Thurgood Marshall, and G.W. Carver Intermediate. Now, in addition to the money, Plasser American also provided a stash of small goodies that each school planned to use as awards for some really fun school programs.
So we do a few different things around the school. Like one example is we did March Madness before COVID, and March Madness looked like if you came to school every day, your name was put in a raffle to help with truancy issues we were having, and it kind of went along with the basketball theme. We had jerseys up in the halls for classes, so I'm thinking already in my head that these would be great prizes for any kid that came for the month of March, you know, that I could give them all out, because there were so many when you were talking about it that I probably could hit all of them because I'm a small school.
When you think about our positive behavior intervention supports program that we have within our building, it's going to be an asset because it can be rewards or incentive that kids can work for in promoting positive behaviors.
What kinds of behaviors are you trying to promote?
Positive ones. Good citizenship, working in the right direction, moving in the right direction, attendance. Attendance is big in our building.
So it's going to help us with our Roar store, opening that back up. So when students find themselves in the hallway caught being good, they get points, and that goes towards their house. And then we have big celebrations at the end of the month just to support those house systems and to acknowledge and recognize those students for doing a job well done. It also goes with our Roar system, which is being respectful, optimistic, accepting, responsible, and safe citizens in our community.
How will you know this has been a success?
Just by the look on the principals' faces. We'll know by the students' behaviors. We'll know by the parents wanting to know more about Plasser America.
Thank you, Plasser American, and all those local businesses that choose to support their community, and especially our kids. Chesapeake truly is the city that cares. Now, speaking of caring, are you aware that the actions you take in your own yard affect the health and well-being of our local waterways, no matter where you live in Chesapeake? It's the mission of the Elizabeth River Project to do right by the river by educating our community on what we can all do to protect the Elizabeth River. Here's Casey Shaw from the Elizabeth River Project with information on a program that might be right for you.
The Elizabeth River Project is a local environmental nonprofit. We've been around since 1993. Our main goal is to restore the environmental health of the Elizabeth River through education and on-the-ground restoration projects, whether it's living shorelines, oyster reefs, and we do a lot of that through community partnerships. So many of those partnerships are with local businesses around the watershed and schools, but homes can get involved as well with our Riverstar Homes program. We have over 6,000 participants. It's a completely voluntary program where we give you a free Riverstar Homes flag for your yard, your garden, when you agree to do 7 things that help the health of your home river. So from cleaning up after your pets before it rains to keep that bacteria out of the river. Not feeding the geese is an important component of being a Riverstar home because they are a bacteria input just like pets can be on our local waterways. Feeding them encourages them to stay here rather than migrate, and we want them to migrate like the population naturally should in this area. We only want rain down the storm drains. So keep your grass clippings, keep any oil, grease that might be on your driveway out of those storm drains. Don't flush your medicines. HRSD doesn't have the ability to filter those out, so we don't want any of those leftover pharmaceuticals being put out into the river and potentially being taken up into the food chain with the fish that we want to essentially be able to eat out of the Elizabeth River. Avoid single-use plastics. That's a big one we always hear. Don't forget your grocery bags, your reusable water bottles, and try not to to use those plastic ones when you go to the grocery store. Single-use plastic, you can throw it away. A lot of it can't be recycled, but when you throw it away, there is no away. It always goes somewhere. Here locally, we're seeing a lot of that marine debris, especially since the pandemic, masks, when we're doing our river cleanups. And a lot of times we're seeing the negative impacts for wildlife, especially our wading birds and fish, like our pelicans, our herons, that can often become entrapped in these tangle hazard single-use plastics. So you want to keep grease out of your sink. It's really important to wipe down any pans prior to cooking with fats, oils, grease, and throw that away rather than putting it down your sink. It can clog not only your pipes, but the city's pipes, and especially in storm events, we don't want to have clogs that create stormwater backflows or sewer backflows. The last thing you can do is reduce your fertilizer use. Fertilizer is one of those instances where more isn't necessarily better. Your yard can only take up to so much, and anything beyond that runs off into the river, feeding the algal blooms, and then is also a waste of your money that would probably be better served elsewhere. So the most important thing to do before you put down any fertilizer is to do a lawn soil test. So the local master gardeners can help you with that. Our Riverstar Homes program can help you with that. And that's one of the 7 steps of becoming a Riverstar home. Like I said, it's completely free. You don't have to live on the river to qualify, because the watershed is a really big place. You can be miles away from the river and still have an effect on its health. So to sign up and get your free yard flag in the mail, please visit elizabethriver.org/Riverstar Homes, and we'll see you all guys on the river.
The Farmers Market at City Park is still going strong with tons of local variety. Get your fresh fruits and veggies, plus a variety of jams, pickles, and so much more. The Farmers Market is open from 8 to noon on Wednesdays and Saturdays at the Open Air Market Shelter in City Park over by the Fun Forest. Well, when you toss items into your blue bin, you have to be extra careful to make sure that you're only recycling recyclable items. Contamination has caused major issues in the recycling industry, so the mission is to always recycle right. Now, when TFC Recycling comes around to pick up those blue bins every other week, they will look for signs of obvious contamination in your bin. If they see something that doesn't belong, they will not collect your bin, and they might leave an oops sticker. This sticker shows a few of the common contaminants, so let's go over those now. No plastic bags of any kind should go into that blue bin. That means you should throw all your recyclables in there loose. Don't bag them up. No styrofoam. Styrofoam not only can't be recycled, but it literally takes hundreds of years to decompose. So the best bet for styrofoam is to avoid using it altogether. No food or liquids. So this can contaminate the paper and cardboard that's in your bin. And when it comes to pizza boxes, toss those in the garbage too. There's too much of a chance for grease and food bits to have contaminated the box, so it's best to just play it safe and toss it in the garbage. No flammables. Now this goes for your brown bin too. Things like gas cans, batteries, propane tanks should not go in either your blue or brown bin and should instead be disposed of through the SIPSA Household Hazardous Waste Collection Service. And finally, no tanglers. Things like electrical cords, hoses, ropes are not only not recyclable, but if they get into the equipment at TFC Recycling, they can cause some major issues. So instead, toss those into your brown bin for disposal. So just remember the golden rule of recycling: if in doubt, throw it out. Learn more at cityofchesapeake.net/recycle. And finally, do you know how to get in touch with us here at the city if you need to request a service or just to ask a question when you don't know who to ask? Your first stop should be the Customer Contact Center. This group of dedicated city employees knows everything there is to know about the city, or at the very least, they know who to ask to get more info. So you can reach out to the Customer Contact Center by calling 382-CITY, that's 382-2489, whenever the city is open for business. You can also make requests online by visiting cityofchesapeake.net/requests. And we even have an app. The Chesapeake Service Request app is available for download on Apple and Google devices and is an easy way to make your requests and to track any requests you make throughout the year. That's all we've got for you for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay healthy, and we'll see you right back here again next week.